come to Vegas and walked in the same places that I used to walk and not even known it. So I'm going to take you on a little tour of my Vegas. And I'm going to show you my old stomping grounds when I turned 20 years old. The summer of 1946. I had married Jimmy to avoid being sent to another foster home when I was 16. And by the time I was 19, I knew all the way deep down he just wasn't meant to be. He was nice, but he was away a lot, and he wanted a housewife. I had to end it if I were to be a star. And so I did. Every few nights when Jim would get me real upset, I would call Harry, and he helped me arrange my divorce plans. I would have to prove to be a resident of Las Vegas for 3 months, but that would be the fastest way. Even back then, California was a rough place to handle a divorce.
Look at me, I'm a big girl now. I wanna be daring like a big girl now.
So I would have to live in Las Vegas from Tuesday, May 14th, 1946 to July 10th. But I knew that the life I was heading towards was so much more exciting than the life I was leaving behind. I asked my Aunt Grace how could I ever go to Las Vegas for that long all by myself, and she said she just might happen to know someone I could stay with, her Aunt Minnie Willett. So come on, let me show you my Vegas. The Las Vegas of 1946 was very different than the Las Vegas of today, but there are a few things that are still around from those days. I spent most of my time on Fremont Street, but back then it was called Glitter Gulch. And at the very end of Glitter Gulch, there was the train station. And this is where I first met Las Vegas. I arrived at the train station after what had seemed like an endless ride through the desert, looking at the same old cactus going by over and over. It was May 14th, 1946, and the train station was only 6 years old and beautiful. But give it another 25 years and this pretty train station would be torn down. But at the time it was the pride of the whole city. Eventually it even got its own streetlight. It's actually one of the only reasons Las Vegas is here to begin with. I mean that in the Hoover Dam. I bet you didn't know that. I included this picture just because I think he's so cute. Isn't he cute? Well, anyway, this is what it looked like back then when I was running around town. And this is what it looks like today. The very same spot. We've both changed a little, haven't we? There's no train station anymore, but perhaps you've been to the Plaza Hotel before. They even have slot machines with my picture on them. Eventually, I got a little Ford coupe so I wouldn't have to take that long train ride through the cactus again. This is where I lived all that summer, with my great-aunt Minnie. The house had a troubled history, but it's gone now. This is actually the neighbor's house, but it wasn't built until 1950, so it wasn't there when I was there. But it's the same exact model as the house I lived in. So it looks the same, and it's so close to where I used to be, which is now this parking lot. It was on the porch here where I first met Bill Purcell, who lived right down the street. It used to have a little white picket fence and a cute little porch, and I told Bill I couldn't wait to have one just like it myself someday. And this used to be my neighbor's house across the street. But now look at it. Where's that small town charm that I like so much? This building is the whole reason I was in Las Vegas. The courthouse and post office. If the courthouse looks familiar to you, it's probably because it's still here. Only now it's a museum that's all about the mob. So, you know, it's still about the same kind of people. I may have been here for a divorce, but don't let that make you think I didn't have any fun while I was here. I was only 19 years old at the time, but I did turn 20 while I was here. But that's still not old enough to go inside the casinos, of which there weren't very many yet. I mean, compared to today. Remember Bill from earlier? Well, we were fast friends, and we used to go everywhere together. He even used to walk me to his house down the street. Bill's house is still here? His parents and his sister and me really got along pretty well. And I'd always come over for dinner, and I'd help set the table and clean up after. If I was taught anything as a girl, it was not to upset an adult. There There used to be a driveway here, and a little path that went right up to the front door, and one that went to the back door.
They don't know what I go through.
There was even a wall here that separated his yard from a garden.
On the outside, crying on the inside.
Bill and I used to go to a lot of out-of-the-way cafes, but sometimes we would go to this place called Quarries. It was a cute little diner on Fremont Street. It's not there anymore, but the layout of Fremont Street has changed so much, it's kind of hard to remember where it was. I mean, the corner of 4th and Fremont Street used to be more spread out, I think. And so now if you look it up on Google Maps, it says it's right here. Isn't exactly the vibe that it had when we were here. But if you look at old photos, Quarries was right across the street from a place called Trader Bill's. It was like a gift shop that sold Native American gifts and things. Well, if it was right across the street from Trader Bill's, the Trader Bill's sign is still there, only it says something else now. So if that's the real location, then Quarries must be right across the street, which is now Denny's, which is still a quaint little diner. I mean, in a way, right? So maybe this is where Quarries ended up. But that's not the only place we used to go anyway. Since about 1933, I've absolutely loved going to the movies. And there were actually several movie theaters in town already. El Portal was the oldest because it was built in like 27 or 28. But it was really the closest one to where I lived. It really instilled in me the reason I had come to Vegas. The screen was there beneath that curtain, and all I wanted was to be on it. Plus it had air conditioning, and that was really the important part. That summer it tended to be between 89 and 100 degrees. The El Portal thrived there until about the 70s, I think. But the sign is still there. Lately it's been kind of like a Trader Bill's, like a Native American gift shop for a real long time. But now it seems to be under construction, and I can't even guess what's going to go there next. Although the sentimental side of me is kind of hoping it'll be another movie theater. I don't remember which movie we saw, it was so long ago. Maybe The Postman Always Rings Twice, or Anna and the King of Siam. Anyway, Bill and I spent a lot of time together on Fremont Street, in Glitter Gulch. But that's not all. We also went to a bunch of places just outside of town. And a couple of places that were a little bit of a drive out. Maybe I'll make a video about those places soon. But now I'll just stick with the city of Las Vegas. You wouldn't necessarily know it by looking, but a lot of things were going on that summer. Bugsy Siegel was remodeling the El Cortez, which is really what brought him to Vegas in the first place. And that was just around the corner. And about 5 years later, only about an hour away, they'd be testing atomic bombs in the desert. But it turns out I had another thing I had to take care of while I was here. I needed to have my wisdom teeth out. All 4 of them. My great-aunt Minnie recommended her dentist to me. But he's not there anymore. The whole building's gone, just like everything else. However, I ended up getting an infection called trench mouth, which is a little embarrassing to talk about. But I had to go to the hospital, and the hospital's still there. Oh, it makes my mouth hurt just to think about it. Oh, what an awful time. I had to stay there for a few days, and then I got released. And then I had to come back the very next day and get readmitted because I had caught the measles. And by July 10th, I had completed my 4-month residency requirement. A few days before that, on July 5th, they scheduled my divorce hearing for September 13th, and I was free to go back to California. But I went ahead and stayed 8 days longer than I needed to because I was having a lot of fun with Bill. They granted me the divorce, so really this building is the whole reason there is a Marilyn Monroe.
Like a big girl now. When Daddy tells those certain jokes.
Well, I had to say goodbye to Bill, and I told him in a letter, "You're really swell, and I enjoyed your company very much." I came back later when the Red Pack used to perform here regularly, and I would come watch the shows because they were so funny, and I've always loved comedians. And I support my friends, you know? I hope you enjoyed your personal Marilyn Monroe tour of my Vegas. And I hope next time you're in town, you'll hashtag Marilyn Monday when you visit all these landmarks so that I know that you saw what I saw. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. I know you have friends that go to Vegas. Thanks ever so for watching, and have fun in Vegas. Bye, honey. Still causing accidents.
I'm a big girl now. I wanna be cuddled like a big girl now.